Okay, guys, so this is going to be, interactive, small. I mean, we're just going to kind of just go through what's on top of your mind and how to make this work for you based on what you're experiencing, what you need some help with. So really feel free to kind of just ask, and I think really the truth of this is everybody's got to find their own way. I can give you lots of different examples of people that are doing really well. I mean, and hair's all over the place. You got to start noticing yourself, right, with these Zoom meetings. So when you get into this Facebook group, I did this post yesterday. How long have you been with StreetText? How many deals have you done with StreetText? Do you attend the weekly masterminds? And the reason I do these type of things often, and then, because I'm moderating this group. I'm probably the most involved in this group, and I'm always seeing what people are doing. And the fact is, we have, let's see, how many members do we have right now? Where's my members? 30. Oh, right here, almost just over 3,000. So you can imagine there's a lot of people having discussions about StreetText, and then you're just going to be the top 1% that are really like, I have a lot of great insights into who's like, I can tell who's doing what, because if I go to membership, I can look to see who's the top. Hey, Juan, look, you're up there. See? And you know what? It makes sense, because you get a lot of value with StreetText because you're constantly in all the discussions, right? And so does Lisa and some of these other people. And you can say, okay, well, if you're doing well with StreetText, you're most likely trying to figure out how to make it a solution, and you're trying to customize that experience, and you're trying to learn, ultimately trying to learn from people. So I really want to drive that home. When you're seeing this group, try to make this group something that you log into on the daily, because you'll miss it sometimes. That's why these masterminds occur on the Wednesdays, because we try to come together, 100+ of us on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. It's 4 of us right here. And I mean, I don't know how many people are going to watch this after, probably not too many. So that's why I record them. But the mastermind, at least if you made that one meeting a non-negotiable every week, you'll truly start seeing it's the roadmap to success, because you get to be in the minds of 100+ people. And most of them, a lot of them have been with us for years, and they have some really good stuff to provide based on their experience. Okay. And so, again, when you go into this announcement section, for example, and you start reading the answers, because you want to read the comments. That's where the gold is, right? And you're going to start seeing, as you read the answers, okay, like, been with StreetText 1 month, 0 deals. Okay, whatever. That's not, you're not supposed to have deals right at that moment. This is a top of funnel game. So let's first start learning about the top of funnel. Now this is where I start seeing, okay, Valerie needs some help. 1 deal in 1 year, something's breaking down. I need to know what's breaking down in the process, because for me, like, even though she's in a higher end market in NorCal, her 1 deal probably paid off the system a couple times over the year, and maybe a couple years, because she's in a higher end market. But I feel like a year gone by, we should have I wouldn't say double digits. We should have 6, 3 to 6 would be fair to say, based on what I'm seeing. Jeff has only been it for 4 months. He's got a couple of StreetText escrows, 1 listing going online next week. He's doing awesome. Daniel, I'd like to see a little bit more. Here's a guy that we'd want to keep our eyes on, because obviously, $37,000 made over from $500 a month in StreetText leads. So we want to figure out who's doing what, right? Because once we start seeing like Janky 21 closed, and she's only been with us since March of 2020, well, what is she doing differently than everybody else? Right? And so Lisa, 1 month in, 1 listing going next week, buyer side contract, 2 more listing appointments coming up, 1 deal closed from Shauna. She's only been with us for a little bit here. Jennifer Salter, obviously we created a course with her. She's done 19 deals. She's got over 1,000 leads. She's still working. That means she's always checking in, right? I think that's the key. Juan, you're at it, man. You have StreetText leads going, you're going to be getting it. No, it's just a matter of time. So that's where I start digging into here, because I want to know, well, why has some people just been over it in a month, only have 2 appointments? And I think ultimately that's The key so much is not like, you know, how many deals have I had? I think the key for you is more along the lines of like, how many conversations have you been able to create? Because appointments will come naturally when that person feels like they can trust you to represent them. So if you're good at creating a conversation opportunity, if you're good at creating a dialogue, if you're great at presenting value, and you know, it really comes down to like reading a page out of Winning Friends and Influencing People. Does how do you know? It really does. Like, how do you make that person feel? If you make that person feel like, you know, then some people are better than others. Let's be honest, you know. But we all have an equal opportunity when the lead comes in, especially when the lead comes in and they go to their inbox, and you got to destroy the narrative that that person had. That narrative that person had is always going to be, I thought it was an automated home value. So if you leave that narrative there, if you leave that experience there, you're going to get more of the same. So every narrative that you can imagine under the sun of what that person is thinking as they're clicking on that ad and submitting their information, you got to quickly start now positioning and redirecting all your energy and mind to how do I actually give myself the narrative that I want them to see. And so what you do is you start reverse engineering it. You start thinking about from the very get-go, you start putting yourself through your own funnel. You start looking at your own ad. You start sharing your ad with people that you admire that would give you constructive feedback. You say, hey, do me a favor, put in your address, put in your email, do me a favor, you know, whatever ad you're running, put yourself in this funnel for me. I need to know if you're getting it. I need to know how it's being received. I need to know if that text message feels natural. I need to know if that text message is even coming to you. I need to know if that email is something that you would reply to, if it feels like scripted or if it feels genuine. I need to start like imagining myself as like, this is a digital door knocking tool. We're digitally door knocking. So if you knew that X number of homes were going to open the door to you today, would you be ready? Or would you stumble on your words? Right? If you knew that, like because this is what it really comes down to. If you're getting a couple emails every single day, and then, you know, you get your phone number, or it just depends on how good your ad's performing. And then, you know, out of the phone numbers that you get, text messages are sent. Sometimes you pick up the phone, sometimes you wait. And, you know, that's a whole nother conversation, because if I have a phone number and I'm not busy, I need to pick up the phone. Like, let's be honest here. But what do you
Tuesday
think?
afternoon is the time, right?
Anytime's a good time. But yes, yes, like, and I think you don't ever come to this conclusion that it's just, you know, well, they didn't answer it. I left a voicemail and they didn't answer my text and they didn't answer my email. So I guess, you know, this is not a lead, right? No, you know, the truth is you need to be persistent. You need to be tenacious. You need to actually like continue to just to reach back out until they basically tell you to shut up.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So I struggle with what you just said, where I am touching them too much and they tell me to take me off their list, versus not enough to get the leads. And I am having a hard time finding the right balance for that.
Okay. So my question to you is, like, when you are touching them, what kind of touches are they? And like, take me to experience. Like, okay, I'm a lead. Like, do. I'm gonna go into my phone. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna click on your ad. Where are you located?
Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Okay, I'm a Packers fan. So
Packers, yeah.
That's what I'm leading with. You know, I'm wearing a cheese helmet in my videos, and I'm gonna be straight up. Like, you know, if I'm in Wisconsin, I'm leading with what I know people are gonna instantly like. I'm gonna be cutting cheese and having my Green Bay Packers helmet on.
Having a beer there too, right?
You know what I mean? But the thing is, we overthink this stuff because we're so busy trying to create this like facade of being this super, like, you know, put it together realtor, when I think more people are actually more attracted to real, like, relatable, fun stuff than they are, especially in the beginning, because you're interrupting something like a narrative someone thought they were going to get, and instead you're giving them something fun. So the more fun you can have in these funnels, the more fun you can have with being yourself, the more fun you can have in connections. When you pick up the phone, you text, when you email, like have fun, because the key is that being fun, your personality, that's what's going to attract them to talking to you. It's not going to be, have you done your updates or renovations?
Yeah.
I think
I
people
have
like,
had success in the last day, believe it or not, with not any leads that have come through StreetText, but the people who have liked the ad. So I went back to every person that just liked the ad,
yeah,
and man, I have 3 listing appointments this weekend from those conversations. They responded
3
instantly.
listing appointments.
Yeah, from
Because guess
people that
what?
didn't even go through the funnel or
But
anything.
guess what you did? This is a big takeaway for everybody. Number one, always view your ad, okay? And check to see the social interaction on it, likes included, comments.
Yeah.
Number two, when you hover your mouse over any sort of ad, what happens, see if I can find one for you. I'll just go to, let's go to Jennifer Salter's account, because I know she'll have something in there. When I go into the ad itself, and I'll pull it up in a second, and I look at the likes, what happens is Facebook, when you put your mouse over it, will show you who's liking it. And then if you like keep your mouse on it, it'll allow you to actually look at the profile, and then you can actually move it to like message people.
Yep.
And so when you message people, you've got it. I think everybody's end game on Facebook, and it's going to hurt people to hear this. Everybody's end game should always be to create a relationship back on Facebook where it all began. Your business page got in their personal news feed, but full circle, you are a human being looking to connect with this person. And Facebook is where they're going to be there every single day. They're not waiting for your next ad. They're actually waiting for a real person. So if you're not leveraging your actual personal Facebook, you're missing out on a big opportunity, because that's the connection piece. And that's also when you can use Messenger. And when you use Messenger, everything stays in one place. You can send PDF, you can send home values, you can send voice, you can send video. It just nothing gets lost. And you can always look back and track back to the last thing you sent, so you know where you're at in that relationship. Whereas when you have a CRM, you're always constantly like, where'd I go? What was the notes I took on this person? How do I know when they're ready? And then all of a sudden you get like your 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 leads in. And you're like, well, what, you're so busy focusing on the last 20 leads that you completely neglected everybody else. And so part of that is like, you've got to humanize the process for yourself, because if you only see them as a lead forever and with no face, no personality, it's not gonna be like, well, I guess they weren't curious, or I guess they were just curious, I guess they weren't ready. And you never look at them as a real person because you never saw them as a real person.
So I was trying to analyze
Kim,
how I spoke with them in the messenger. I mean, it's short snippets versus, a paragraph in an email that they might not read. So I was surprised how many people just gave me their name, I had their name, their address, their phone number, and their email. And within half hour, I had got back to them through email and said, go check out your email for your valuation and let me know what you think. And they keep conversing. So I'm like, wow. So out of 9 people that liked it, I have 3, like I said, 3 appointments this weekend.
Because you
So
reach back out
Kim,
where they're comfortable. That's their comfort zone. Their comfort zone was that place of Facebook. Their comfort zone wasn't back on email like a lot of people. That's not a comfortable zone to go for a lot of people, right?
Kim,
Yeah.
can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, so Kim, you were able to have, because I've seen this as well on my ad, there's likes. I hover over just like Marcus says, and then I get where I guess I'm inviting them to like my Facebook page. But you're actually getting to be able to respond to their profile, and that's how you're making the connection.
I am not even friends with them or ask them to be friends yet. I just say, could you try again? Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm not even friends with them. I haven't invited them. I just said, I see that you've liked my ad on Facebook for a home valuation. Are you still interested in receiving that? If so, I'll need your address and email, and bam. And then I go back and say, is there anything else I need to know about the house? And I get the kitchen sink. And then, you know, I kind of test out if they're just looking, if they're curious, if they want a list. And I actually flipped a guy already who said we had no intention of listing, but now that I know what it's valued at, we're going to move to a less expensive suburb and cash in on our equity. So he's one of the listings I have this weekend, and they weren't even really looking to sell. And now he's got me on the buy already, looking for something for him to buy. So I'm going to get 2 deals out of it.
Awesome. So what did she do? Well, I'll show you where she went and what she did, and then you kind of look at this and tell me what your thoughts are. But this is why we do these things, because there's so many out of the box. You know, it's not so cookie cutter. It's not always, you know, they clicked on my ad, they submitted my address, and I submitted an email, and now I think everything kind of just landed the way it was supposed to. I think it's like, no. They clicked on an ad, and that ad, if you go into the ad and you click view your ad, and then you actually start analyzing the actual ad itself outside of just the metrics that are in your dashboard, you're going to start seeing on that ad like little likes like this. And that's Sean, Marilyn, you know, Timothy, and Chris. And then you're going to go like, okay, so if that, like, I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to actually, when I put my mouse over it, I'm going to go to who's this Sean guy, and then I'm going to go search for Sean, and then I'm going to send Sean a message. And then, you know, and especially I'm going to do stuff in my comments too. Like if someone a whole lot more than the tax value, lol, then you respond with, you know, and by the way, I don't think people are realizing this now, and I'm kind of changing it a little bit, like changing the game a little bit on the thought process here is, you know, did you know that when someone comments on something, if you have your Facebook Messenger or your Facebook app, I'm just going to meet you there, buddy. When you, I'm getting some feedback. Whose is that? Is it me? Okay. If you go to Facebook and you see that you have a like or a comment and you open that up, you can actually reply into comments with a video. So it's really interesting because a lot of people are just going to like comment back whenever they get some comment on an ad or something. They're just going to comment back, and you know, it's going to keep it super like superficial, texty type of thing. But you can have fun with it by using GIFs. You could have fun with it by video now. And that means like I could go to any one of the comments, and I've done it in some of the posts in the inside group, and literally respond with a comment, but a video comment. Like, hey, actually, no, it's me. You know, I'm the actual realtor working on this. It's complimentary. There's absolutely no obligation whatsoever. Just go ahead and, you know, PM me your email, and I'll get started. I'll be starting to send that to you. So there's another idea for you, Kim, with comments.
Yeah.
But also when you get the message from the likes, you could text them back. But why not just send a video like, hey, it's Kim. I just saw you liked my ad. You know, I just want to let you know this is a super easy complimentary process. So you just got to send me over your ad. And what you do is you don't just send the video, you also send some text there too, just to reinforce what you're looking to accomplish. So you get a little bit of both.
You just struck my memory there. Another thing that I do say when I contact them is no strings attached, no obligation, and free analysis, period. I do it just because I want to help people, period. And maybe that's attracting them. I don't know.
Well, you're saying the right thing. I mean, look at what in the announcement section, if you look what Melissa Porter did with an email that got 4 listing appointments for her. Look at this, free CMA, no obligation, just giving back.
Yep, that's where I got it.
Right? And where do you think Melissa got it from?
You guys.
So, you know, again, psychology, guys, this is almost more psychology than anything else. You know, when I keep on referencing back to winning friends and influence people, it's psychology. It's basic like rapport building. It's, you know, it's make friends and influence people 101. Because you're working with somebody that is absolutely not thinking there's another person on the other side of that submission. Every person thinks they're getting an automated home value. I would say 99.9% of people, when they click on that address and they submit their information, thinking it's some sort of computer algorithm. surprise, surprise, no, it's me, right? And so if you're not there to help them know that, then they're quickly going to go into defense mechanism, throw on the sunglasses of what they previously have seen with people trying to get their business, and just go into complete shutdown. And so who's the person that's really successful with StreetText? It's the person that really just humanizes the process and makes that person feel like they can talk to them. So it's not the person that produces the most CMAs. Sorry, I wish it was you got awarded for all your CMA efforts, but anybody can do that. And I advise against it because it's going to be very time consuming and tedious.
Yeah, I'm not even doing CMAs. I'm doing range valuations. And then if they converse and want more, then I can give them CMA when I come out to their house. That's what I'm telling them.
I would keep it so super, I would just be like, hey, I don't have your information yet. And I do things in depth market analysis, but I have to actually see the home. I have to have a real conversation with you. So in the meantime, what I'll do is I'll pull up some comparables in the area in your neighborhood. I'll find some more square footage of bedroom, bathroom, but it's going to be pretty wide open. So when you're ready, all you need to do is book here.
That buys me time internally to get some realtor reports from my title agents, title companies, to get really hone in on the valuation of that home.
Jeffrey, if you just started with StreetText and you made your first ad yesterday, good on you for coming straight into this meeting, but you'll have to split test a little bit, an A/B test before you find the lowest cost per lead. And so split testing, what you'll learn is 3 ads, 24 hours, let the best ad win. And it's not always going to be 100% either. So split testing sometimes results into another split test after that didn't work, and you'll set up another split test, and sometimes you'll A/B test that split test, and before you know it, you finally found the game winner. So there's a little patience involved. Sometimes people hit a home run off the bat. Some people have to switch funnels to find it, but ad performance is more of a measure of split testing and A/B testing to find the best 500 people audience in the beginning, and then that all of a sudden predictably goes off where you want to go in a lead flow direction.
Hey, Marcus.
Yeah.
In my last ad, or the ad that I'm running now, I've gotten 2 homeowners who have reached out, and of course they have their houses currently listed. Of course, here in Florida, we're not allowed to really have this kind of communication, but I'm trying to figure out what was the reason that they contacted me. Is it that they don't have a really good relationship with their realtor now? Do they feel that they're not didn't get the right proper evaluation? So when I sent back a response, it's not like one of those, I don't want to deal with you. It's just I want to keep the door open, but I also don't want to have this other agent later on say, hey, you violated blah, blah, blah. So do I turn them off of automations? What do you guys recommend?
Great question. And that's a question I would probably take to your peers, because tomorrow, phenomenal opportunity to pose that to 100 people in the meeting, right? And even one of you here, because ultimately that comes down to how you create that experience and then what you're going to do to nurture that experience along the way. So, some people might put them into HomeBot anyways, because it's a great high value opportunity, and you can say, hey, here's what I'm going to do. If something happens to where you're no longer happy with your current agent, just send me a quick message. But in the meantime, I'm going to drop you into this great report. It's, by the way, it's going to still be somewhat of an algorithm until you actually go in there and tune your market value. But I'm not going to touch that until your relationship with your realtor is done, right? But you can stay on this report in the meantime. And you can update your mortgage, your equity information. You can see great investment in Airbnb scenarios. So I'm just, look out for that report. I'd probably do something like that on the very minimum, just so they have that. So at least you have that nurturing capacity going on. And if they so happen to say, you know what, I don't like this agent I have anymore, I like what, Juan is doing, then they'll reach out to you.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Juan? When the law said you do not go approach them, but if the seller approach you, you have the right to answer him. You're not having any issue with that. It's the law everywhere, by the way. They came to you. You did not reach to them, so you did not interfere with the relationship with the broker or the agent.
You're absolutely correct. You're right. I forgot about that factor, that they actually came to me first versus me go to them. You're right. You're right. Thank you
And
for
what
that.
Marcus said is perfect. Just keep in touch on a low profile. Keep him seeing your name. You never
Yep.
know. You
Yeah.
never.
There's nothing stopping anybody too from connecting on Facebook. And so when I think when you, in your automations, in your text messaging, in your voicemails, like even when I'm reaching out to realtors starting StreetText and figuring me out, like I'm always doing something that disrupts what they think I'm doing or would be doing. You know, everybody thinks when they start a trial with StreetText is like, oh, this guy's just trying to sell me another lead generation program, right? Most people that just kind of go into that realm. And so I disrupt that with like video and voice and have fun with them. I'll use Messenger and I'll do fun little filters and so forth. And that's no different. And so as long as you're being genuine in that approach, like there's no reason why I say, hey, just go ahead and, you know, if you wanted to stay connected, here's my Facebook profile. Just I'll be looking for you too. Let's connect here. You know, this way I can stay in front of you. You know, you're more often going to see me in the newsfeed than you were anywhere else, right? And I think that's the key, is that's where that person gets to know and like you, and then trust happens from there. But you need to be in the place where that happens. You know, I don't care what automation you have or what CRM you have, even if it's like the best one in the world. No one spends time sitting in their inbox and email. Like people spend time on social, and that's where they found you originally. And that's where they're going to be probably an hour or more a day, just sitting on Facebook, looking in their newsfeed. Something to think about. Scott says, does calling cold at any point work for anyone here? And if so, what point and what conversation? Well, what depends on what you're saying, calling cold. They're not cold if they put their phone number. But if you found them, Scott, through like some sort of trace system like Spokio or True People Search, the way I look at it, I would do the same. But again, I would be like, hey, it's Scott with, you know, Remax Kelowna. Just wanted to say I received your address on Facebook, and I never assumed, because this is for if it was a partial lead and he didn't know it was him. I never assume it was the actual homeowner, because sometimes I know your home's a very desirable area. It could be a buyer looking at your home. And oftentimes it could be a renter of the home as well. So I always call the homeowner first, because it's your address, your home, and I just want to make sure that's the information you were asking for. Right? And by the way, even if it wasn't, this is complimentary. There's no obligation. Would you like in home value? Oh, sure. Yeah, that'd be great. You know, have a conversation. It's like, comes down to it, right? It comes down to it. It's like, these are people. These are just real people. And if you can carry a conversation with real people, you have well on your way to wherever that goes. And even if that's not with you, create an experience that they want to talk about, an experience that creates a referral and repeat business for you, because people always want, you got to disrupt the everyday. Your competition's doing something. You need to be unique if you want to be a change maker in this industry. So if I'm looking at top of funnel solutions like StreetText, I'm exploring everything I can do to connect. I'm exploring LinkedIn, I'm exploring Facebook, I'm exploring, you know, wherever I can find someone. I'm exploring video, email, I'm exploring, you know, whatever I have with the free 99 things I already have. If I'm using my computer and I'm using iMessage, and I can see that their color is blue and my color is blue, and I know that we connect on iMessage, now I'm like, oh, I got you, right? Because you can throw in emails. Do you guys know that on iMessage, you can throw in emails, and if it turns a certain color, you now can talk to them like as if it was a text message, and you can send audio and you can send video. A lot of people don't know that stuff, right? They learn, but the way I work is I always have my phone right here in this little stand, because I'm using my phone, and then I have my iMessage on my computer. I use a Mac, and when I'm doing my text messaging, because it's way easier for me to type texting than it is to be on my phone, my workflow is so much easier. So I'm always looking for, okay, what do I have access to? So this allows me on my computer to send voicemail, even with a click, but on my phone, I can send voicemail or voice texting, as well as I can send video. And then always, I always try to get that Facebook connection first and foremost. I mean, for you guys, it's because I get you in my Facebook group, but that immediately humanizes the process for everybody to get to see my family and to see my kids, like to see that I'm actually a real person. It immediately puts their guard down and it allows conversations to happen more authentically. So you got to always think of that same thing for people you've never met before. It's not.
So another good thing I have to share that happened this week is to send those referrals out and get referral credit for them. I sent 4 referrals out and 2 of them resulted with the agent getting listing agreements. So hopefully, crossing my fingers, I'll get that referral fee. So send those out.
Send those out, right? If you don't want to work those people that you're getting that are outside the realm of the 15 miles or just in an area that you don't care about or don't want to work in, go find someone that will, right? But this is a pipeline builder. Like you need to think about, it's not just for you in 2021 to accumulate hundreds of thousands of leads, but for you to think about every single person in that as like, did I give them an opportunity to connect with me as a person? Or did they always like imagine this was just a bot? At where point did you know for a fact they knew it was you? At what point, and did that consistently come across in the way you sent emails and the way you sent automations and the way you sent personal messages in your texting and the way you use Julie and the way you try to connect on Facebook and the way you picked up the phone? How did that all connect with them? Because that's going to be key. If you can make that first week and beyond really grounded in that foundation, then when you send texts and emails and stuff later on, they don't have to be so personal because you grounded that first place. That was a foundational area. But if you start on the wrong foot, nothing's going to come back and help you. So, can you do lead generation like this without video? Absolutely. Would I? Absolutely not.
Yeah, Marcus, I'm finding out when I first started with you guys, I would just do a really simple email, no video, and just giving out what Zillow would sell for, what Redfin would do, yada, yada. And, you know, no, I never got any communication. But since I started adding the video and still doing something very, very simple, I have noticed people are starting to respond. They're starting to tell me, hey, I have a pool. Hey, I added solar. For me, the conversation has now picked up just by making that one little switch to the CMA part of it. So I definitely will not do CMAs without videos anymore.
Awesome. And don't forget with that, every time you send something, always ask a question. Every time you send something, put in a call to action, like a link that connects them to something, whether it's your Facebook profile, whether it's a calendar that they could book a meeting with you for, you know, like make that super intentional because you need to get some sort of interaction there. You know, as I'm on myself a big BombBomb user, I'll be honest, like I use my BombBomb in a way that I try to show people because I know anything that I send and compose, I can go and create tracking behind it. And so I have a bunch of pre-canned written responses for people because I know, I do the same thing a lot, right? So I know hey, your trial's ending, what's next, right? Very easy for you to do similar stuff. And then once you change it just a little bit by putting in their name, you change it just a little bit by putting in their address, put it in a little bit so it feels very personal. So you're gonna have a combo of that and then actually personal ones where instead of saying, you know, a generic home value thing, there would be their name and be their address. Be like, John, regarding 133 Glenridge, right? Like get their attention and do something personal as well. But then with that being said, you need to actually track it. So I can track anything I send by who's opening it. I got my plays, I got my opens, clicks, sends, likes, comments, right? All my tracking will show me based on the color who's getting what, and I can actually set reminders to tell me what they've done and how those stats are perceived. So it's not just, you know, this idea of let me generate the lowest cost leads. It's like, okay, let me become proficient at understanding what's being communicated. And then with that being said, am I really measuring that communication? Because if it's not being received, what's the point? You know, if I know for a fact everybody gets a chance to meet me, like I'm like, okay, what do I have? What information I have to go with? How can I get them to meet me? It depends on the type of information I have. If I have an address and email, I got to really hammer home on this email so it connects to them. And then I'm going to be like, okay, well, I need, you know, as a realtor, what else would I do? I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go pull up that address and see if they're cross-reference their information. I'll pull up tax records, see who's on title, you know, go to Facebook, see if there's a connection there that we have mutual friends, any likes, interests, and so forth. Like whatever I can find, I just want to make sure there's a connection. And then what I might do if I find that that's indeed the person and I can see their email has got the name in it too, I might be a little bit more intentional and send a quick bomb video to that person and be like, you know, I'll use screen recording too. Like, hey, look, I found you on Facebook. I just want to make sure this was you. You know, I'm actually going to try to connect with you because I think, you know, whatever you want to say. But if you make it that type of process, it's not creepy anymore because you're genuine. It's only creepy if you just randomly like reach out to somebody and they're like, why are you reaching out to me? But if you make it personal, it makes sense. Like if I send you a video and I'm like, you know, any one of you, I'm like, hey, you know, this is why I want to connect with you on Facebook. You're like, huh, that makes sense. But if you just randomly connect on Facebook and friend request somebody and they're like, why is, you know, so you have to have this like context behind it. And it reflects a lot of your personality and the way you do it. It comes down to your body language and tonality, and you're truly intentionally doing it, or are you trying to just people are always trying to decide if is this guy BS or a girl BS? Are they really just trying to sell me something, or are they actually authentically looking to help me here? And so you got to put your best foot forward in that direction. And it truly comes down to, you know, at the end of the day, you can't hide that. That's either who you are or that's not who you are. And so for those people that are not who they are, this is going to be a really uphill battle struggle.
Have you gotten anyone to share their BombBomb videos?
Oh my gosh, we got a million BombBomb videos. So all you have to do is, guess what? Go to topics in the group, video examples.
Oh.
And then you're just going to be layered by layer by layer with different people's videos. With, you know, you can kind of look at the comments to see which one's the most popular. But it's going to be a combination of intro videos and CMAs that people are doing. Like this is one of my favorite of all time. Stephen Dreher is no longer with us, but I just love this video. It's just one of my favorite because it's so outside the box. I'll show you what she did here.
Hey there, Stephen from Regency Real Estate. Thank you so much for submitting your information. I got it and I am on your home valuation. I just wanted to pop in really quick. I'm actually in front of one of the listings that I just listed. And this owner in particular, his name's Alex. We actually connected the same way that we just connected on Facebook over a year ago. Now, we are just listing his house today for over $40,000, what I told him last year. So you're going to be receiving either a phone call from me, or a text message. So just be on the lookout for that. And then I would love to talk to you about some of the things that you have done to your house to upgrade it, or that maybe have increased the value. So just so we could get that right value and tune in really quick there. So feel free, just be on the lookout for that call, and then I will hopefully talk to you soon. See ya.
So, I mean, it just shows you, right? Like just so outside the box, but so fun, you know, to be out there literally in front of a house and pull out your phone, because that's the whole thing about BombBomb. You don't have to be sitting in a computer. You can just open up your app on your phone and be anywhere. Why not be in the field, like literally coming out of a home? Like have fun with it, you know? Oh, hey, oh, sorry, you know, you can just have fun, like you just caught on surprise, like you can even take them through the experience they just had. Hey, you probably just clicked on this ad thinking you were getting an automated home value, am I right? and then you get awkward silence. And they're just going to continue on. Okay, hey, I get it. Like you probably that, and so you just kind of have fun with it. So it's just a matter of understanding, like go back to their experience. And with screen recording, you could literally use the ad itself in part of the presentation. Like, hey, you just clicked on this ad, right? This was the ad you clicked on. You submitted your address and at least an email. That's why you're seeing this one, right? So it's just like we get lost. You got it. Juan, you're getting an idea right now, right? Because we get lost in this idea, 2 ideas. We get lost in this idea that it's like some cookie cutter process you have to follow, but there is absolutely none. As soon as the email is submitted, it's fair game. Fair game for anybody that wants to create a presentation in that moment. It's your personality to get just to shine through. So kind of figure out what your personality is and what you're, have fun with it. Because that's your first impression. That may be your last. Sometimes that's the only one you get.
So if you're doing a video in response to their initial outreach, and you have a copy of the video behind you or of the ad behind you in the video, how are you sending that? Are you loading it into StreetText to shoot out as
Nope.
an automated message?
Well,
No?
you could, that could be an automated video, but I don't rely on automations for anything. So even if I have an automation that's going out, like, and I have like 4 or 5 automations that go out in my trials and people start, when they submit their email and they sign up with the trial, I have a 7-day automation, right? Just like you guys have. And with that being said, I always have that same email canned in just like I showed you in my snippets of my BombBomb, and I'm going to resend it. Because I know some of the time they may open it, but they don't actually engage with it. They just like, oh, I got it. They forget, like it's in the way, kid screaming, something happens. Like there could be 1,000 different reasons. They get a phone call, anything could happen. They just forget. So you have to keep it top of mind. And so you just resend it. Hey, did you just making sure you got this? I wanted to give you an opportunity to respond before I start working on your home value. And then you resend that same email with the video that was in your automations. And maybe you just change it up just a little bit, but you kind of do things like that because you're just getting them to say yes, or, oh, but yeah, we did some updates and da, 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 da. Like, perfect, and then you kind of go from there. But you're just like, the most important thing you could do is get some feedback, get someone to say yes. It could be, it's like, we don't always have to need this long-winded answer. Sometimes we need to just have someone to respond to get a win. That's a win for my book. Because now you can naturally just do whatever you want as long as you've got their attention.
So Markus,
yeah,
I kind of I was on my Facebook and this came up on my feed, so that's how I actually got on to this whole Facebook Live that's going on right now. So I'm actually, I think, in the middle or actually towards the end of my trial with StreetText. I don't know if it ends today or tomorrow. I'm not even sure, but I know it's.
I can always give you more time if need be. I'm not a stickler of the 7-day trial period.
Oh, okay. So
make sure you get the value of it before you sign up.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. So, I mean, I've been following up. I've gotten, I guess, quite a number of leads that I've followed up with. I'm finding that maybe I'm a little bit more boring on my response because I just pretty much emailed a proper evaluation back. Haven't really gotten any feedback from those emails. So I did them outside of my email within StreetText. I just did them through my business email.
Sure.
Gave them a range of value for the people that said that they wanted, to get a value for their home, but haven't gotten any feedback back from these people. So I mean, my next step was to follow up with them on did they receive it, stuff like that. The other ones that just had an address, I found a property valuation for them, and I'm actually took the tip from the colored envelopes.
Yep.
To mail. To mail a property valuation to these people. So I guess I'm trying to figure out, I don't know, the methodology on what's working, what doesn't work, and try to hone in what needs to be done. BombBomb, I'm so not I don't know what to do with that. So I'd like to probably learn how to do that kind of stuff because it seems like that's kind
Oh,
of the way to.
sure. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I mean, it is absolutely a learning process,
It really is.
and nobody just gets it. Like, and someone who gets a listing appointment off the first week, usually it's just out of luck, or they have some previous experience with this type of lead gen. But in most cases, like, you quickly find that it's not a matter of lead generation that will ever be a concern for you. Like, yes, you'll have to mess around with our ads and our funnels to get like a really consistent, predictable lead flow coming in. But once you move beyond that education and learning, which is you're always learning, then it quickly becomes on to, okay, as soon as the email is submitted, I need to make sure once they get into the inbox that there's no doubt in their mind that they're working with Donna. That Donna is going to be working on this value, and whatever you actually say in that moment, it's entirely up to you. But it allows you to humanize it from that get-go. So you have to make that the priority, because no matter what happens, even if they submit the address, the email, and then anything after that in that funnel, information about their home, time frame for selling, condition of the property, if they go a little bit deeper, name and phone number, at the very minimum, that email shoots out. So I don't care if it's got a full lead or a partial lead. Address only is a whole nother solution, and we'll talk about that shortly. But the email is where everything begins. And so I would then make the priority of my entire email or my entire lead conversion process about the first 7 to 14 days of saturating that with like personality, and like just like not just the idea of what's your home worth, like what do you want to tell that to that homeowner that could be considering selling in the future? What is it about you? What is it about your network and people that you already know, connections you have, the community that you're giving back to, the service, the way you do things? Like, think about it, the story you'd like to tell, and then reverse engineer that and build that into your automation so that that's going to naturally go out, and then you're going to have your own personal follow-up, but that is going to naturally start going out for the week, even if you don't hear from them. So that's what I would layer with, so that no matter what, they know they're working with Donna, they're getting to know me along the way. And so if so happen in the future, 3 months go by and I check back in, they remember that experience. And they're more likely to stay in touch with you too if they see that's a genuine process. Like, oh, they show it to their husband or wife and say, oh, hey, honey, look at this. This is kind of cute, right? Like, well, let's just stay in touch. Like, they don't want to respond to you yet because they're not ready, but they appreciate it. And so that you made a lasting impression. So when that time comes in the future and they actually are considering selling, they chose you based on that experience you provided, even though you didn't get anything back from that experience. Because it all begins there. And then, when you're sending that stuff, then you're naturally going to find that this is why we have a Jennifer Salter course. She's done 19 deals because she's become a master of email communication of this sort. So she's going to have automations, and then she's going to have 3 or 4 emails that she's going to be sending correspondingly. And she's going to wait until they open it, wait till they play it. And then her next kind of mode of communication is going to be set based on whether they got it or not. And sometimes it'll be the exact same email with a different subject line, just to make sure it gets open. So she'll continue to send until she knows for a fact that the video play happened, because she needs to make sure they got to meet her and that connection was genuine. So it's a learning process, because you got to think about the communication you have. And if you have a phone number, you're going to pick up the phone, and then and then what Jennifer has done really well that I like is she actually has changed up all our automations so that when an email goes out, a few minutes later, a text message goes out. So you can build your automations like that. And the automation text messages, by the way, are all customizable, and they stop as soon as anybody responds. So automations have to be built with text messages cleverly, because if they don't get that, like a lot of cases in the trial, they don't get the first text message, like the second text message that says, just let me know if I can help. And they say, who is this?
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Every time.
I was getting like the question mark, like, who are you? What?
Yeah,
Every time.
And it's because the first one's not going out because of the carrier. So we have an actual thread in the announcement section to that exact same thing on how to change that. And so that's where beyond this trial, you'll start learning, okay, here are things I can do to make this flow feel more natural. And that just happens. We can't do this in a week. It's not a week fix for your business. So it is absolutely, like, I think it's a humbling experience, but it's an experience that if you like go after and really plug into the community, you could look back a year from now and have 10 times ROI, if not more. I think Jennifer's at 17 ROI. So you'll start minimizing, like, it's not about how much you spend on Facebook. Sometimes it's about pulling the plug for a little bit on your ad spend and really focusing on the process, and then putting your ad spend back up when you feel like that process is worthy of what you'd want them to see. Because we can all generate leads, but then we can, everybody can generate 100 leads, but what if you have no one to talk to after 100 leads? Really didn't do much with that. You just have a lot of people that are in your pipeline, but that they never effectively like responded to anything you sent. So I mean, I wish I could make it easier for you, but it's just, you'll have to kind of come in, like tomorrow's mastermind. If you could come tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. Mountain, 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, hit all your points. That meeting is, every person that comes to that meeting tells me, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like, anybody who comes to that meeting as like a non-negotiable, the night and day, their mindset alone is what keeps them with StreetText, of what they experience in those meetings. Like, I have people that haven't actually closed a deal, but they'll re-up their StreetText accounts because of what they learned those meetings that they apply back to their business. And so it just shows me they're going to get it. They just haven't got it yet. But with people that don't come to these masterminds, they start making all these mental blocks that, like, it's StreetText's fault they're not getting leads converted. I'm like, no, they're all the same. Why is it that this person's doing a deal a month and it's the same exact leads, and you can't seem to get past that? You're not supposed to just send them a CMA. So good stuff. That's it. That's all I got for today. Message me on Facebook if you have any questions. I'm always going to force you back to Facebook, and I'm going to force you to kind of start using it like I use it. It's going to get you out of your comfort zone.
Hi, Marcus. I was wondering, tomorrow's meeting, are you putting it on Facebook or?
Yeah, it'll be on Facebook, but if you want to register for that, calendly.com/StreetText. You literally click on that link right now, and that'll take you to the mastermind registration, as well as all the other workshops we have. Because tomorrow there's also the ad performance review workshop with Stephen Whiting, our founder. It's a great place to kind of come see what's possible with all the different funnels that we run. Buyers, sellers, listings, lots of different ways to go after leads. But tomorrow's mastermind, you can register for it with that link.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Good stuff. We'll see.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.